The night is heavy with silence. Mist drifts across the stones, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. A distant echo breaks the stillness, hooves, striking the ground, fast, relentless, chasing something unseen. The air trembles with secrets yet to be revealed. And in that silence, a single truth rises. One man is about to find what the world thought was lost forever. The world of the Highlands feels torn apart, wrapped in both beauty and sorrow. Dark clouds hang over the hills, stretching across the horizon like a warning that storms never truly end. Through the shadows of pine and heather, the camera follows Henry. His steps are not rushed, but every movement carries a weight that cannot be ignored. His eyes hold a fire that has burned for too long, a fire fueled by questions, by grief, and by hope that refuses to die. He is not only searching for answers, he is searching for a soul, for someone whose absence feels like a wound across time itself. The path before him is unforgiving. Mud clings to his boots, rivers rise and fall with no mercy, and the wind cuts through his cloak like knives. Yet Henry does not falter. In his hand, he clutches a scrap of clothhold, weathered, torn at the edges, but carrying the faintest scent of someone he cannot forget. It is a reminder of Claire, the memory of her laugh, her touch, her voice. He closes his fist around it, pressing it to his chest for strength. And for a moment, the storm around him fades, leaving only the rhythm of his heartbeat, steady and determined. Around him, the land tells its own story. Broken wagons left abandoned by fleeing families. Empty fires, still warm with the ghost of travelers who left in a hurry. Trees marked with the scars of blades, reminders of battles fought and lost. Henry walks through this world with eyes wide open, knowing that every mark, every trace, could lead him closer to her. The journey is not just physical light, is written in the way his shoulders carry the weight of responsibility. In the way his gaze sharpens at every sound in the distance. He knows she is out there. He knows she is waiting, whether she speaks his name or keeps her silence. The night deepens, and with it comes fear. Owls cry out from the treetops, their calls echoing like warnings. The ground beneath Henry softens into marsh, slowing his steps. Yet he pushes forward, gripping the handle of his blade, not out of rage, but out of protection. He is not afraid of dying. He is afraid of failing her. With each breath, he remembers the stories passed down to him, the whispers of his bloodline, the choices that brought him here. They all lead to this moment, to this path, to this search. And though the darkness presses against him, though the weight of the world feels heavier with each mile, he does not surrender. At the edge of the marsh, Henry pauses. A shape flickers in the distance, a lantern swaying faintly in the wind. His breath catches in his throat, not because he believes it is her, but because it is a sign that he is not lost, that he is not walking blindly through endless night. Someone else is out there, someone who may know where Claire has been taken. He tightens his grip on the cloth in his hand, and his eyes burn with new strength. The camera lingers on his face, half-shadowed, half-lit by the weak glow of the lantern, and we see not just a man searching for a woman, but a man carrying the weight of fate itself. As the wind howls and the lantern flickers, Henry takes a step forward. The land groans, the sky stirs, and the silence around him feels as though it is breaking apart. Something is coming, something that will change the course of his journey forever. And though he cannot yet see the end of the path, he knows one thing with unshakable certainty: he is closer now than he has ever been. The air in the room is thick, heavy, and still. Shadows crawl across the walls, cast by a single wavering flame that clings stubbornly to the wick of a candle. Time feels broken here. Hours bleed into each other, days vanish without warning, and silence presses down like chains. This is where Claire waits, not defeated, not broken, but trapped in a cage of stone and secrets. Her body is weary, yet her spirit refuses to bend. She sits with her back straight, eyes sharp, every breath measured, as though she knows that even the air around her carries ears. The room itself feels alive, whispering in the cracks of the stone and the groans of the wooden beams above. The walls are rough, lined with cold dampness that seeps into her bones, but Claire does not shiver. She has learned to master her fear, to hide it in the quiet corners of her mind where no one else can see. A table stands in the corner, empty save for a chipped glass, half filled with water that tastes of iron and dust. Beside it, a chair waits, always turned to face her, as if expecting someone to sit, someone to question, someone to pry into her thoughts. But no one comes. Not tonight, not yet. Her hands, though tired, are steady. She runs her fingers over the edge of her dress, over the stitches that she herself once made in calmer days. The thread is fraying, and so is time. She closes her eyes for a moment, and the world outside this prison returns to her rolling hills, the cries of gulls along the coast, the warmth of familiar arms. For a heartbeat, she is not here. For a heartbeat, she is free. But the echo of a door slamming in the distance pulls her back, reminding her that freedom is only a memory, and she is still bound by walls that will not let her go. The guards outside move with careless rhythm, their boots dragging against the stone floors. Their voices rise and fall, rough laughter breaking through the silence, reminding Claire that her world is surrounded by men who see her as a prize, a piece of power to be held and controlled. But what they do not know, what they cannot take from her, is the fire that burns beneath her calm surface. She has endured storms before, storms fiercer than these walls, storms that have threatened to tear her apart. And still, she stands. Still, she breathes. Still, she waits. In the darkest hours of the night, when the candle burns low and the shadows creep closer, Claire speaks softly to herself, words no one else can hear, words meant only for the heart that listens across distance and time. She whispers Jamie's name. She whispers Henry's name. She does not know if the sound carries beyond the walls, if it slips into the night air where it might find them, but still she whispers. For in the act of speaking, she refuses to be silenced. In the act of remembering, she refuses to be erased. Her eyes sharpen when she hears it, a sound faint, almost lost to the night. Not the careless laugh of a guard, not the creak of wood. Something else. A shift in the air, a footstep that does not belong. She tilts her head slightly, straining to catch it again. For a moment, it vanishes, swallowed by silence, and she almost convinces herself it was nothing more than her tired mind playing cruel tricks. But then it comes again, closer, softer, deliberate. Her heart quickens. Claire rises slowly, her movements graceful, deliberate, as though she has rehearsed this moment 100 times in her mind. She steps closer to the barred window, her eyes searching the darkness beyond. At first, there is nothing, only the swaying of trees, the faint call of the wind. But then, faint as a dream, a glow flickers in the distance. A lantern, a small light, but enough to pierce the night, enough to stir hope where none should exist. Her breath catches, and she grips the edge of the bars so tightly her knuckles whiten. She does not cry out, not yet. She does not dare. But her eyes, bright and unyielding, fill with something she has held back for too long. Belief. She knows that somewhere, someone is moving through the night with a purpose. Someone is drawing closer. Whether it is Henry, Jamie, or another soul fate has thrown into her path, she does not know. But the air itself feels changed, alive with the promise of something more. The candle flickers one last time before dying, plunging the room into darkness. Yet Claire does not feel fear. For the first time in countless nights, the dark feels less like a cage and more like a shield, protecting her from the eyes of those who would keep her here. She leans closer to the window, her breath fogging against the iron bars, her heart beating with the rhythm of footsteps she cannot yet see. And though the silence remains unbroken, she knows deep within her soul that the moment is coming. The world outside these walls is shifting, and in that shift, hope has returned. The walls breathe with silence, a silence so deep it presses into Claire's chest like a stone. The chamber is small, but it stretches endlessly in her mind, its shadows swallowing the hours, its damp chill gnawing at her bones. She sits on the rough ground, knees drawn close, and lets her fingers trace the cracks in the stone, as though they are lines on a map, guiding her somewhere beyond these walls. The air tastes of earth and iron, heavy with the smell of smoke that drifts in from corridors she cannot see. Time here has no shape. The days blur into one another, and even the candle stub left to her burns down in silence, marking not hours but fragments of existence. Yet within her, something stronger than despair holds on. Claire has been trapped before by fate, by loss, by choices that cut deeper than blades. She knows the language of captivity, but she also knows the sound of her own defiance, beating steady like a drum within her chest. She thinks often of the world beyond these walls, not in fantasies of escape, but in the memory of small, ordinary things. The way rain used to fall against her window, soft and endless, carrying the scent of earth and renewal. The warmth of bread breaking in her hands, steam rising in the morning light. The sharp laughter of Jamie echoing across a field. Henry's determined footsteps trailing behind him like an unspoken promise. These are not dreams. They are anchors. Each memory is a thread, and she clings to them fiercely, weaving them together to remind herself that she is not only a prisoner, not only a shadow caught in the dark. She is part of a greater story, one that even stone walls cannot erase. At night, when the air grows colder and the torches outside sputter with exhaustion, she hears the world in fragments. A guard's cough, the clank of a sword dragged lazily along the floor. Sometimes, the scrape of boots halting outside her door. Each sound is a language she has learned to translate. She can tell when the men are weary, when they are distracted, when they are restless enough to make mistakes. She listens not because she plans to break free by force, but because knowledge is the sharpest blade she has left. She lets it sharpen her patience, lets it sharpen her hope. There are moments when the silence grows so thick it seems to choke her. Moments when the dark presses too close and her heart pounds as though trying to break through her chest. In those moments, she speaks softly, not to anyone present, but to the ghosts of those who wait for her. She whispers their names. Jamie, Henry. She whispers them like prayers, like spells woven into the night air, trusting that somehow, across distance and danger, they might feel it. And in speaking their names, she feels herself grow stronger, as if the act alone is enough to tether her spirit to theirs, no matter how far they might be. Then comes the sound that breaks the rhythm, a sound not like the others. It is not the careless laughter of men, not the shuffle of board guards. It is lighter, slower, more deliberate, as though someone is moving with purpose, not duty. Claire stills, every sense in her body reaching outward, straining to catch it again. The air shifts, carrying with it the faintest vibration, the faintest suggestion that something has changed. She moves closer to the barred window, her breath steady though her heart pounds, and peers into the slice of night beyond. At first there is only blackness, a weight that offers no comfort. But then, in the distance, she sees it, a flicker, a fragile glow weaving through the trees, moving with the rhythm of a hand carrying a lantern. For a moment, she tells herself it is nothing. Perhaps a wandering soldier, perhaps a trick of the eye, but her heart rebels against such dismissal. There is something in the way the light moves, hesitant, yet determined, wavering yet unwilling to vanish, that speaks to her as nothing else has in these endless nights. It is not just a flame, it is a sign, and she feels the weight of her despair, loosen just slightly, like chains slipping from her wrists. She grips the bars tighter, her breath clouding against the iron, and in that moment, her mind races faster than her body. Could it be him? Could it be Henry, carving his way through the wilderness, refusing to surrender until he finds her? Or is it a stranger, carrying news she dares not imagine? The candle beside her sputters, its light dying at last, but she does not sink into the dark with it. Instead, she welcomes the night, lets it wrap around her like a cloak, hiding her from the eyes of those who would keep her broken. For the first time in what feels like forever, she does not fear the shadows. She feels them shifting, feels them alive, as though the walls themselves know that something is drawing near, something that will unravel this silence. Claire's lips part, though no words leave them, and her eyes remain fixed on that flickering light. In the silence of the night, she does not pray, she does not beg, she simply believes. And belief, here in the depths of captivity, is more powerful than freedom itself. The forest does not sleep, it hums with hidden life, every branch whispering secrets to the wind, every root twisting like it remembers old blood spilled on the soil. Henry moves through it as if the shadows themselves are guiding him. His steps steady but sharp, his breath controlled, his senses alive to every shift in the night. The lantern in his hand sways with the rhythm of his stride, its glow pushing back just enough darkness to mark his way, but never enough to reveal the whole truth of what lies ahead. His heart is not racing, it beats with heavy, deliberate force, like a drum echoing the weight of destiny. He knows he is close. He cannot see her yet, cannot hear her voice, but something deeper than sight or sound tells him the distance between them is collapsing. The air grows colder as he pushes forward, yet the chill does not weaken him. If anything, it sharpens his focus. He has been walking for what feels like lifetimes through rivers that tried to drag him under, through mud that swallowed his boots, through battlefields where ghosts seemed to linger in the fog. Every step has been carved out of pain and persistence. But now the ground feels different beneath him, firmer, leading him somewhere specific, somewhere meant. His hand brushes the edge of a tree, rough bark cutting against his palm, and he grips it tightly for a moment, grounding himself. He remembers why he is here, who he is searching for, and the image of Claire's face flashes in his mind, so clear and vivid it's as if she is standing before him already. He presses forward, unwilling to lose the thread that has finally led him this far. There are sounds around him, small ordinary things, yet each one carries the weight of possibility. The snap of a twig beneath his boot, the rustle of leaves stirred by a hidden animal, the distant rush of water running over rocks. But beneath these familiar noises lies something else, faint but undeniable, the rhythm of movement not his own. He halts, holding his breath, tilting his head to catch it again. There it comes from ahead, muffled, cautious, as though someone walks not in freedom, but in fear. His grip on the lantern tightens, his eyes narrowing as he lets instinct lead him. He has hunted before, but never for prey, always for answers, for truth, for the living thread of blood and loyalty. Tonight is no different. Tonight, he hunts for Claire. The path opens to a clearing, and Henry lowers himself, crouching among the bracken. Through the veil of branches, he sees it, a faint glow in the distance. Not his lantern, not a trick of the moon. It shines through the cracks of stone walls, flickering weakly as if struggling to survive. His chest tightens at the sight, not from fear, but from recognition. This is no wildfire, no wandering torch. It is a prisoner's light, fragile yet stubborn, clinging to life in the same way he imagines Claire has. For a moment, emotion threatens to break him, but he steels himself, forcing the tremor in his hands to still. He cannot afford to lose himself now. Step by step, he advances. The ground shifts beneath him, stones slick with moss, branches clawing at his cloak as though trying to hold him back. But nothing can stop him. His body aches, his muscles scream, yet he feels carried by something greater than strength, something born of bloodline and bond. He moves with the silence of a hunter, each footfall deliberate, each breath measured, until at last he stands before the walls that hold her. They rise like a wound in the earth, dark stone pressed against the sky, heavy with history and sorrow. Henry stares at them with fire in his eyes, knowing that behind those walls, a heartbeat waits that he has been chasing through time itself. For a moment, he closes his eyes, letting the night press against him, listening to the sounds that drift from within, the scrape of boots, the cough of weary men, the faint clang of metal striking metal, and then so faint he almost misses at the softest whisper, a sound not meant for him, not meant for any ears, yet carried by fate directly into his chest. It is her, Claire. The syllables are broken by stone and silence, but it does not matter. He knows her voice as he knows his own heartbeat. The sound slices through the night, igniting something inside him that no cage can contain. Henry presses his hand against the stone, feeling its cold resistance, and for the first time in countless nights, he lets himself believe fully, not in chance, not in blind hope, but in certainty. She is here. She is alive. He tilts his face upward, staring at the small window high in the wall, bars cutting the night into pieces. The lantern's glow barely reaches it, but he can see movement to shadow shifting. A figure leaning close as though searching for the same truth he now holds. His chest rises sharply, and though the distance between them remains, he feels the bond snap tight, as if the air itself has brought them together. The forest around him fades. The cold, the pain, the endless miles, all of it vanishes, leaving only this moment. The silence between them is thick, charged with everything unspoken, everything endured. Henry does not call out, not yet. He does not break the fragile balance with words. Instead, he lets the moment breathe, lets it stretch, lets Claire feel in her bones what he already knows. He has found her, and though walls rise high, though chains may still bind, the night has shifted, the search is over, the rescue has begun. The night breaks open like a drum, and everything moves at once. Torches flare along the outer wall, shouts roll through the courtyard, and the wind drags smoke across the sky as if trying to hide what is about to happen. Henry does not wait for luck to choose him. He chooses the moment. He slides along the stone,